Hello, my name is Sam. Today I am looking at a planner that is an undated planner. It is actually a Hobonichi clone-like planner. And the reason I got it is it was only about $12 to $13 on Amazon. And I have been wanting to get into the Hobonichi planners, but the price seems so steep. It's, I don't know, $50 for one, and I didn't want to get one, not use it the whole year, and end up with another half-filled planner. So I got this one from Amazon. I figured I'd give it a go. So I'm going to go through the planner. You'll see here, it has 12 months. It does have this year plan at the beginning. We can set up important dates. Here you have just pretty much all the months. This actually does have the months. So if you're someone that wants to have all the months before each week, it's not going to be for you since it has the 12 months. Here you can see it does have this little section here where you could put important information or any sort of appointments that you need. So I do like that. I also notice the grid is bigger. From what I've read, the Hobonichi is a 3mm grid, and this one looks pretty normal size. I think it's the 5mm. And I actually have, this is my Midori notebook that I use, and this does have a 5mm grid. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it looks the same to me. And of course, you get 12 months. And then we get to the week layout. And this is what I enjoyed because I like to have some sort of structure. There are points that you can line across, so you can split your day up. So you get 52 of these. The one thing I thought was really cool was this. You have 2 bookmarks. That way you can have one for the month, and then you can have one for the week you're on. So I thought that was pretty cool. Just simple things. The cover is, I guess I should talk about the cover. It is semi-firm. It's not, it has some flex, but it is durable. You can get a clear cover, but from what I've read online, it's not necessarily clear. It is like a nylon cover. It's not as see-through as other covers, so if you have stickers and stuff you want to put on here, it's not the best. You can put the stickers on the cover. I did want to do a pen test. So from what I see, you get 4 extra pages back here. I usually reserve these for pen tests and a reading list if I want to do that year. And I have a good amount of pens because I have a problem, and it's an addiction to pens, and it's one I don't want to give up. So yeah, let's go through all my pens. Well, I guess not all. I am hiding a lot of them because I don't want the public to see how much of a gremlin I am. So let's start. This is a Hogdian pen, and let me get the ink out. I'm probably going to mispronounce this, Reuher Klinger, and it's Gaviosa, which is an iron gall ink. It's really nice. It gets darker as you write, but it's supposed to behave very well on paper. So let's do that. And I'll list all the inks I use, or the pens on here. The pens and inks. So far, it's not bleeding through, and there's no feathering, which is good, but this is probably one of my most well-behaved fountain pen inks. We're going to put it up against some more annoying ones. Let's do this one. This one is probably the worst, and this is Bay State Blue. And this gives pretty much all of my notebooks problems besides, I think, Midori. And you know what? That is, I'm not gonna lie, that is fairly impressive for a $12 notebook. That's honestly kind of crazy. I was expecting that to bleed through. I did dilute this ink just a tiny bit because it is very aggressive and it bleeds through a lot. Let's do, this is just Pilot Black if I remember correctly. Okay, that's not feathering either. I think the Pilot Black, that did bleed through. Sorry, I need to remember. It did bleed through a little. That is oh, and I got some smudging. Oh well. This is a thicker nib. It says fine, but I think it's like a Japanese medium. Let's try. I need to remember to let that dry out. Oh well. This is Pilot Blue. And that is not too bad. It is bleeding. These are thicker nibs. I think this is the Japanese medium. So that will definitely add to it. This is Waterman Serenity Blue, I believe. Oof, pardon my handwriting. I don't know if I'm spelling this correctly, but we're gonna try. That is feathering. I'm gonna move that up. Yeah, that is feathering there. This ink does feather randomly, but yeah, it's not liking that. Okay, that paper. And then this is Carbon Black, Platinum Carbon Black. That, yeah, I kind of assume Carbon Black is pretty good. Okay, there is some light feathering. And I'm sorry, not feathering, bleeding. And I need to be careful not to. There is some bleeding there. Yeah, so these thicker nibs. I do have. This is a smaller nib, so let's try that. This is Detrimentis Black. So let's try that out. This is a smaller nib, so we'll see if that's. Now I'm just gonna write black. Because I don't know how to spell Detrimentis. But this ink is pretty well behaved. I use it on normal paper quite a bit with this thinner nib. It doesn't give me any issues. Yeah, see, no bleeding. Maybe a tiny bit there, but not as bad as these. But no, yeah, that's pretty good. And yeah, the only feathering so far has been, looks like it's just been the Serenity Blue, and it's not terrible. I also use some roller pens, so I have a few. This one is one of my favorites. I actually changed the insert, so don't believe this pen. But it is the Jetstream 0.7 in black. All right, that's pretty smooth. One thing I tried to do is check if the paper is thick enough. I don't like it when like my roller balls indent the paper too much. And that was one thing I saw that happens a lot in the Hobonichis. This is pretty good. I didn't write too hard. I tried to have a lighter touch. So that one honestly went pretty well. Of course, yeah, that ink behaves well on pretty much all of these papers. And this is a needlepoint. I just got this. This is 0.3 and it's a Pentel. And I got that. Thinking I was going to get a smaller planner. I'm like, I don't need a tiny pen. Yeah, no bleeding. Yeah, all these rollerball pens. I guess not roller, this is gel. They seem to be going well. And then this is just a regular Pentel 07. This pen is very smooth. If you like gel, these Pentel pens are super smooth. And I believe they're permanent. But that, I got through all my pens. Yeah, no feathering. Honestly, yeah. I'm kind of surprised at this paper. I assumed... Sorry, I need to put this in front of the camera. I kind of assumed it would be worse just because it was $12 on Amazon. But if you can see, there is feathering, and that was on the Pilots, the black, blue, and I think the Serenity as well. Those did have thicker nibs, and I think that was probably the culprit. But yeah, it did pretty good. Also, I'm waiting for it to dry. But another thing I liked was that, or I noticed, is that it has kind of a flat lay design, which is one thing that I look for in notebooks, is this flat lay. So when I saw that, I was pleasantly surprised. But if that's a thing that you look for in a notebook, I recommend it because yeah, it is flat lay. I like this smaller design because I can keep it next to my desk. Not next to my desk, on my desk, next to my keyboard. And it is a slimmer design, but yeah, I'd say give it a try. I mean, for $12, you can't do too much about the bleeding. I would just use a smaller nib on your pen. But this is pretty cool. I love that I'll be able to use my fountain pens on it because I honestly did get that Pentel pen just assuming that I would have to use it specifically on this notebook. But yeah, pleasant surprise. You guys should check it out for $12. I'll put the link in the description. Y'all have a great day.